Okay, let's have a look at one. Let the function h represent the height in centimeters of a cylindrical tin can with diameter x. We have a function written there. What is the domain of the function? What is the domain of the function?
4.
X is between 4 and 14, inclusive. What is the range of the function? How do we do this?
You put it to the graph and calculate it. You put 640 over x squared.
So control, add page. Let's do it quickly now. Get your calculators in your hand, add the function.
Okay.
Calculators in your hand, add the function. We have to do this quickly, we've got 5 minutes. So 640 over x squared plus 0.5. I don't see anything.
You have to subtract.
Wait.
You have to put the x.
So what we can do, let's go back onto the calculator page. We need to find the endpoints later, don't we? So the endpoints are at 4. So at 4 it's at 40. So we go through 4, 40.5. That's the lower endpoint. So let's find the other one. 14. What's the y value? So at 14, it's at 3.7. These are useful to us to know how to see the graph. Instead of just zooming out blindly, we can use these values as our first look at where the graph is supposed to be. So we press Menu, Window, Window Settings. We want to go from 4 to 14, was it? 14.
But wouldn't you want to put it a bit more so that you could see?
Not for the domain, only for the y values, but you're right for the y values. So I think it's reasonable to, it's going to 3 here, so it's reasonable to have it at -6, or we could have it at 0. But that one, other one's up at 40, and it's going to go much bigger than that. So let's go up to 100. Oh, so here we get an idea of how the graph looks. So it's actually going to be quite easy for us to see the range. There's no asymptote in this section. This curve will have asymptotes. What we got? It's going to have an asymptote at x equals 0. It's going to have horizontal asymptote at 0.5. But we don't need to see that. We don't need to see that on this one. What we see is that from here to here, that's the range. So what is the range of the function? It asks us to find the range.
2.7745.
Do we have it here?
I suppose so.
So the range is y. It's defined on. And what is the smallest y value?
3.77.
3.77. Notice these points are both included. So we include 40.5. So what looked difficult, once we saw the shape of the graph in this section, wasn't that hard, was it?
I don't get how anything to do with the graph of the shape it's going to have.
So it's going to go from 40 here down to 3.77 here. And what we see is it doesn't go up like that. So that is the highest point. In the same way with the introductory questions of reading the graphs, you could just see it. You can see it in the graph. Okay, we need to find, so the function has an inverse, and we need to find what is the value of the inverse when x equals 10. This says, what is the value of the inverse when x equals 10? What is the relationship between the function and its inverse?
Negative reciprocal?
No?
Negative?
No. What is the range of the inverse function? What is the domain of the inverse function? No. Sorry, can I ask you not to back up? With an inverse function, what you do is you take the domain and the range and you switch them. Do you remember from IM2? You take domain and range and you switch them. So that means the range of the inverse function is from 4 to 14.
Oh.
The domain of the inverse function is here. So these are the domains and ranges. Super easy. So if this one says what is the y value when x equals 10, you can just invert it and say, what is the, so we need to find here the y value. So that basically means we can take the original function and we're looking for the y value that has so we're looking for the x value. We're looking for the x value that has a y value of 10. We're looking for the x value that has a y value of 10. So we'll just quickly do that on the graph. Here we will say y equals 10. Here's the line. Where do they cross? Let's analyze the graph and find the intersection. So 8.21.
How do you do that, sir?
Just go on the graph menu.
All right, let's finish there for today.
Thank you, sir.
So h to the minus 1 of 10 is equal to, what was the answer? 8.21. 8.21.
We need to sprinkle the water to put out the fire and so on.